Okay, perfect. Guys, welcome to season 4 of Geek Out Fridays. This is the first in a series of marketing automation calls that we're going to have this year. And they're going to follow along the same path as what we've done in the past, but we're going to try to go more into AI automation, marketing automation, and backlinking and SEO. So that's kind of going to be our focus this year. Most of our tools are kind of around that concept. So we're very excited about everything that we have coming up in new launches and new features. Let's go ahead and get started here. Now, today, I am not being joined by Wayne. He is going to be, he's got some personal things to take care of. So I'm going to be running this solo. So I may have to catch your questions near the end. Okay. And here we go. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about AI detectors and some secret techniques for faking out the AI detectors. And what brought this up is I'm a member of several of these AI groups, and we're doing a lot of AI testing, and we're always looking for how can we automate AI to get human-like content. And everybody started talking about, well, all these AI detectors are Google's gonna ban you because you're using AI. Well, that's not the truth. Google wants good quality content that people are gonna read. They're even creating their own AI. So it's not about whether or not you have AI, it's about whether or not you have good quality. And so that's one thing that we're going to be looking at today. The other thing is schools, universities, newspapers, they're the ones that have come out and said, hey, we need to detect AI because we don't want students going out and going to chat GPT and writing a research paper. And that's very understandable. You have to know how to walk before you run, and the same with writing is you got to know how to write before you go into using these AI tools. So that's where kind of the controversy comes up, is there's certain school districts and certain universities that are banning chat GPT. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, that's up to them. But as far as marketing and as far as writing and content goes, for what we're doing as marketers and SEO, we do need AI because our competition is using AI. And what Wayne and I have been doing for the last year and a half is, well, last 2 years, we've automated AI through the use of Article Forge. Article Forge is the only one right now that we know of that has an API that will do a final draft version. You send it a list of keywords and they'll give you back a final draft version. Now, whether or not you use that as your final post, that's up to you. We're publishing these posts directly out of AI content. And so that's the whole goal here. Is our goal 2-3 years ago was, could we take a list of keywords and build a complete website from scratch? We're almost there. In fact, with Article Forge, we're very, very close. It still takes a couple steps to get there, but we're looking at building our own AI masher. And if you go to AI Masher right now, you can actually sign up to be on an early launch list. But we're not going to even look at that until likely fall or late 2023. But we're going to hopefully be pairing up with a very famous AI author to pull OpenAI, automate it with a very human-like algorithm, and then create blog posts with images and videos, and do this on an automatic basis, put it on an API, and be able to use it inside of RSSmasher and our other tools. And we're starting all this kind of with the AI indexer. So that's a little background, but the question, the call today is about AI detectors, because we wanted to see what are we producing right now? How does it play with the AI detectors? Can we improve it? Can we trick the AI detectors? So that led me down the rabbit hole. Now, I went in and there's quite a few AI detectors I looked at. So basically what they look for is when you go into each of these, they're focused on whether they're GPT-2, GPT-3, or 3.5. What they're looking for are sentence algorithms, sentence repeating, words that are not commonly used that are tagged in there, patterns, repeating patterns of words and phrases. So GPT-2 detectors could do a pretty decent job on GPT-2, but if you're like us, you're probably using an AI writer, either Jasper, Chat, GPT, ZimWriter, or Phrase, or some of the others, and most of them are all using GPT-3 or 3.5. Why is this big difference? Well, the difference is it's between a kindergartner writing a document to maybe a junior high student writing a document. GPT-4 is coming out probably by summer, and it's the equivalent of a copywriter writing the article. That's why we're waiting on producing our own AI writer until GPT-4 comes out. So that's, why aren't we competing with everybody else? Well, that's the reason. But we need to know how the AI detectors are looking at it, and what can you do to change the output of the detectors, or can you get past the detector with certain things that we're using? So they're important. Like I explained earlier, is there's two sides to the camp coming out. Is we don't want to see our students using this, and then the other side is we're going to use as much as we can because our competition is doing the same thing. In fact, Jasper just signed, I think, Sports Illustrated. Their journalists are going to start using AI writer as the background. And there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are using AI as a writing assistant. And that's your competition if you're marketing, is how fast can you create content? Okay. And okay. So how did we test them? Now, guys, I spent almost a week doing all this testing a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to write a Medium article, and then I thought, no, I need to do this for Geek Out Friday because I've got to explain the process of what we're doing. So I'm going to show you the test. I'm going to give you the links, and so I give you the links here. I'm going to put them in chat. So I'm going to give you the links for the articles that I tested and the detector results on a Google Sheet. Now, I give you this, you'll have everything that I have access to right now. Let's copy it here. Okay. So what you should see in chat is the first link is going to be the Google Doc. And then I have the Google Sheet, which is the results. And then I have a bubble up roll that has all the links to the AI detectors that I use. Okay, so here's what I'm going to show you. Here are the results. In fact, I got to probably make this a lot smaller. Okay. Let's make this maybe 90%. Okay, you can see that now. And I'm going to bring over the Google Doc. Now, the Google Doc is really big. It's almost 230 pages. Okay. Now, the main keyword that I was testing, I was going to write an article about survival tips for the hunter. I have a bushcrafttips.com and I wanted to get a good article. So that led me down, how am I going to test AI detector and what AI detectors to look at? Okay, so the main keyword is survival tips for the hunter. I have several different sources that I'm pulling from. So the very first one, I needed a base to test against. The very first one is big content. Now this is PLR, 100% plagiarism, okay? So I'm not gonna fake anybody out that this is an original article that I wrote, but I needed one that was not AI. In fact, this article probably came out 10, 15 years ago. Okay, so these are going across. Here's the title of the article, Survival Tips for the Hunter. And I wrote this, here's the big content, didn't change anything. So I took the original and I pasted it in, okay? It's not long, but then what I would do on here is I'm also going to summarize the article, except for this big content, okay? I'll use Word AI, Grammarly, and so these are kind of some cheats, some tricks that you can do to cheat the AI detectors, or to spoof the AI detectors. So let's take a look, kind of so you know how this chart is built here, okay? Here's the topic. Time required to create less than 1 minute. I just went to the big content website, typed in survival tips, chose me an article, 577 words. I put it into a tool called originality.ai. This is a paid AI and plagiarism detector. So it told me that 100% of this article is human, 0% AI, plagiarism, 100%. This is kind of what I expected right here, okay? Now, this one right here is AI text classifier. Okay, this is the brand new OpenAI tool, okay? So their results are very unlikely AI generated. Now I'm going to go into some free tools, because everybody says, well, you can check them with free tools and it's just as well. Okay, here's one called Content at Scale. If you're go to the link with bubble up rolls, you'll be able to follow along. I've got all the links in there for in fact, I'll just drag that in here. Okay, all the links are in here. Originality, AI detectors, all the AI detectors that I use, okay? So content at scale, you can kind of just follow along on the spreadsheet. The very first article is human. It was written by a human, and it is not AI at all. So copy leaks, this is another one. It's a free AI detector, but it's limited words. Same with this one. This one has a 2,500 character limit. It's free. GPT-0, this is a new one. It's written by a college grad student. It has a 5,000 character limit, and it gives you a likely score, and then it gives you a final summary. Your text is likely human generated, okay? This number, I could not put a pattern to it, or a scoring pattern of anything, because sometimes it gave me a human and sometimes it gave me AI, and the numbers are completely different. So if y'all can figure that out and let me know. And then another one is people like using Hugging Face. This is GP2. So you can spoof this one pretty easily, because it's not picking up the GPT-3 patterns as well as the others. But a lot of people are claiming they're passing AI detection and they're sticking it in Hugging Face. Well, anybody can do that, okay? So it's either going to put you almost all human or fake. And I say human, it's percent real. Okay. I took this one step further, guys. I wanted to compare this. So I had Surfer. I loaded up Surfer, and the main keyword was survival tips for hunters. So the article itself from Big Content gave me a 26 score. So I needed to be in the 60s or 70s on Surfer to even be competitive in ranking. So I would have to do a lot of work to get it from 26 up to 67 or 75, okay? Here's the phrase, I put it into phrase. Same type of scoring system as Surfer. They're looking at the 20 top SERPs, so it didn't do very well. I put it in Grammarly. What's the readability of it? What's the overall score of the article as it was put in there? Okay, you can see 87, that's a pretty good score out of 100. 75 means it's very readable. 100% plagiarism, which matches up. It should be 100% plagiarism. Okay, so now let's start testing articles. Okay, so I took Article Forge. I went in, made my settings. I said, I want a long article with subheadings. And so it gave me almost 1,000 words, 941 words. It took about 7 minutes after I put the keywords in to get response back, okay? Now, I took this article, I put it straight into the Originality AI, and I'll show you how I'm doing this. So you can actually do this yourself if you wanted to. Okay, original article, Article Forge, winter, bushcraft, survival tips. So that's what Article Forge gave me, keeping warm. Okay, so that's the original article. And I'm going to put it into the Originality AI. Okay. New content scan. Okay, I had to buy credits on this. I think I've already run out of credits. So this one is a paid system. I'm going to put it into the new AI text classifier, which is the OpenAI's AI detector. This is brand new. So I'm just going to drop it right in here and hit submit. Likely AI generated. Okay, so I copied that and I recorded it. Likely AI generated. So I did this with all the different writers. So I'll go ahead and bring over content at scale. You can see what that looks like. And this is very limited. I think it's 2,500 words on this one. And this claims they do GPT-3, but I'm not absolutely positive on it. Okay, human content score. They've updated the output. 30%, so it needs work. So again, this is AI written, so it should say 33%. Okay. So actually, their new update gives it a 33%. That's interesting. Okay. Copy leaks. This is probably the one that I would just throw away. I wouldn't even use it. It gave different results every single time I put an article in. So I'm going to paste an article right here, come down here and check it. AI content detected, okay? And so I would put that in here under copy AI detected. GPT-0, I'll pull that over. And you're seeing just how I tested every one of them here. So I put that input in there. Let's see, I guess it. This one is not working today. Okay. This is the college student that did this one. it's good test, but it is kind of flaky as far as when it operates or not. He's not on a for-profit system right now. So I think it's him and another guy building this. You saw copy leaks. Okay. And this is Hugging Face. I'll bring it over. Open AI Detector HF space. Paste it in. It's predicting 99.98% fake. Okay. And that's understandable. It is. I haven't done anything at all to fix it. Okay. So that's how I did my test. I just wrote down everything in here in the spreadsheet coming across. Now, article forwards, let's go in and look. I've got a little bit better score. I've got a 30 here on surfers, a little bit better than big content. It's a little less than praise. Readability is good, okay? But look at this, 1% plagiarism versus 100%. So if people are saying, well, AI is giving you plagiarism in there, it's copying everybody else's. I haven't found that to be the case more than 2 or 3%. But there's certain phrases that people use all the time that everybody uses, okay? So that's how the testing is done. So on article forge, here is my next set of testing. How can I spoof this? So what I did was I went into phrase and I used a rewriter. And I'll show you how I did that. I'm going to bring that over. This is one of my favorite rewriting tools, summary tools, but it really does lower, it lowers the word count. Okay, so I'm going to go into new document, and I'll just put in here. Actually, I'm just going to go straight into AI tools here, and I'm going to use semantic author. Okay, I'm going to put the entire article I just had, which is 941 words, and I'm going to drop that article into phrase. Let's see. I'm just kind of showing you how I set this up originally. So let's Control C, come back over here to phrase, and paste that entire article in there. It looked like it cut me off a little bit at 705 words. Okay, so it's just going to do the top part of the summary. Okay, 102 words. And actually that one didn't do very well. So I'm going to come back over here to documents and new document and survival tips and create document. Okay, now I'm going to use phrase right here. AI write. Professional semantic. Run tool. Okay, there's the input. And here's the output. Now, he's got some little things going on with semantic SEO tips. I think his template has changed a little bit. I'm going to have to talk to Peter about this. Anyway, what I did, I did this a couple weeks ago. I did the same thing as you just saw right there. I rewrote it with phrase using the semantic author. Okay, so here was the article I tested against. Okay, I dropped it into all the different AI detectors, and look what happens is when I drop it in there, word count went down to 188. So it's a summary of this down to 188, but I just spoofed the originality.ai 100%, none detected. Come over here to AI text classifier, the OpenAI tool. It's unclear. So they can't even tell if it's written by an AI or a human. So that's something that you're really looking for. But then I come over here to content at scale, 100% fake. This one is all over the map. I would not even use this. Copy leaks, very quick test, said it was human. Your text is likely AI generated here. So you can kind of follow along. Hugging Face gave me 100% human. But when I go down in word count, I go down in Surfer score. I also go down in Optimize score. It's semi-readability, but Grammarly gave it an 85%, and the plagiarism score is 0. Okay, so that's the first test that I did on every one of these. So you can kind of see how I did it. Okay, the next test I did was, okay, let's take the original article and run it through Word AI and take one of the variations, see if it makes any difference. Okay, so here's Word AI. I took winter bushcraft. This is the results. Traditional bows. I mean, it does pretty good on the rewrite of it, but let's take a look at the score of it. So this was just a straight rewrite. I didn't do anything else. 901 words, 100% fake, according to originality. Word AI didn't help me there. It was just a waste of time to even do it. However, OpenAI said, well, it's kind of unclear. Content at scale, 100% fake. Copy leak says it's human. Okay, doesn't make much sense to me. And here's this one. Your text is likely human generated. Okay, so I'm kind of improving a little bit, not much. Hugging Face gave me 100% fake. So these free tools, they are what you pay for. You get what you pay, I guess. Surfer scores up a little bit. Phrase optimized score is up a little bit compared to our base. Okay. Overall readability goes up. Grammarly score goes up, and the plagiarism score goes up to 2%. Okay. This is acceptable norms right here. Okay. Now, the next test that I did on this, I said, well, let's take the original article and let's fix it inside of Grammarly. So it's 100% on Grammarly. Okay. So same thing, 929 words in here. I improved a little bit, but it's coming from Article Forge. Okay. So I did not look at it in terms of making it human readable. All I did was I used the tools at my disposal, which was Grammarly Pro, to fix it. Okay, slight change there. It says it's AI detected here, fake here. Your text is likely AI generated. So Grammarly, I didn't notice anything with Article Forge, but I'm starting out with Article Forge. It truly is AI generated, and you can tell. Okay. Surfer, everything looks good. My Grammarly score went up to 100% because I fixed all the suggestions that Grammarly gave me. Readability, kind of about the same. Okay. Now, here's the final test that I did on almost all of them. I took my Grammarly version, so it's all grammatically correct, and I added a helpful content from phrase. So this took the word count to 8,900. It took about 3 minutes because I already had the article. I put it into the originality. It started going a little bit more human, 10%, 90%. Very unlikely. This is what OpenAI says. With my helpful content, almost 9,000 words, it's very unlikely that it's AI generated. Okay. So if OpenAI can't even tell it's AI generated, that's a good thing. So this is kind of why I bolded it right there. I did make a note in here. I had to delete most of the bottom of the facts. The facts is a long document to go with it. But then, you know, you get these scores over here, which doesn't match up with anything. AI detected. Again, they're free tools. You get what you pay for here. If you're going to use any of the free tools, this is probably the better one, GPT-0. It gives you a more quantitative score. Okay. Surfer. Now I'm starting to improve on phrase. The reason is I wrote the helpful content inside of phrase using their optimization scoring. Okay. And I fixed my helpful content briefs with Grammarly before I even go put them in with it. So good score here, 4% plagiarism. This is all very acceptable right here. Okay. So I was able to turn the tables a little bit by adding a lot more content to the bottom. Okay, so let's start comparing other AI writers to Article Forge. So my goal is I wanted to see what all these different writers did without me putting any manual proofreading effort into it. Okay, so that's the goal, is can we do this automated without manual input? If I'm going to do a pillar post, I'm going to use Jasper or Phrase or one of these, and I'm actually going to read through it, proof it, change a lot of the words, change the sentences. I'm going to spend a few hours, maybe even a day with it, or I'll pay a professional to do it. Okay. But those are the posts that I am really focused on building backlinks to ranking on a pillar post. So again, we're looking at automation tools, AI automation tools. Okay. Wayne challenged me. He said, find one that we can replace Article Forge with that is better quality. So I use ScaleNut. This is similar to Surfer, but it will actually write the article using AI inside of it. It's cheaper than Surfer, but it's not really cheap. It's not the Chat GPT cheap, okay? Cheap. So it came up with an article, top 5 survival tips for the hunter. So I can just come down here, go to ScaleNut. There we go. Okay. So it broke, you can kind of see the format, top 5 survival tips, survival hunter overview, what to pack. Very good. In fact, I didn't even think about water collection, purification, and food preparation, creating survival kits, frequently asked questions. Now, this ScaleNut does frequently asked questions already with it. It's a very good article. In fact, I read through it and like, oh, learned something today. Okay. So I took this article, ran it into all the different AI detectors. Okay. It's 2,700 words. It took me about 7 minutes to build. So it's a 7-minute blog builder. Okay. And this is the scoring. So it's starting to kind of move the needle over to human. Okay. Then I tossed it in here and I'm like, oh, it's still saying AI generated. Okay. Content at scale, you can kind of see now copy leaks. You know, who knows what copy leaks is going to give you. Every time you put something in there, it will give you something different. Okay. I would just avoid using this. This, I put it in here, more data may be needed. It's a longer article. This has a 5,000 character limit, so it did not read the entire article. It read just the first 5,000 words, okay? Hugging Face. Again, I wouldn't trust I wouldn't trust this one much. The scoring starts looking better, but I dropped in phrase optimization. I think it's because the title or the content itself was not structured around survival tips per se. It was more about bushcraft. Surfer, good readability, a good overall score, good readability, 3%. Okay. And then I come back and I put it into phrase and use semantic author to summarize it. Came up with 530 words. Again, you can kind of see what I wrote. And you can use this document to test your detectors. So you don't have to do the testing, you can just drop it in, okay? So that's the article. And I kind of hit the enter load more, and it went ahead and gave me top 5 survival tips for hunters include. And it gave me a good conclusion. So sometimes if on phrase using any of these templates, you get down to the bottom, just keep hitting enter. You put it into the doc and it will give you some good stuff in here, okay? So that is that article. So what I did was, by summarizing it, is it flipped it to 50-50. It's unclear whether it's AI generated, which I like. Content at scale gave me 100%. And I was always passing this when I was using phrase. Human, your text is likely human generated, okay? It's not human generated, it is AI generated, but it's using a very good algorithm. So keep that in mind, is the AI algorithm that is using that makes a big, big difference. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing some notes on where you set a voice, you set all these parameters. Absolutely. You can improve the quality of your articles by setting prompts and setting variables on it. And we'll talk about this probably in another Geek Out Friday, but the prompt matters. But most people are starting out with a simple prompt. Give me an article with 5 paragraphs about survival tips for a hunter. Okay, that's where everybody starts. And then you start learning you need to improve the prompt. Better input in is better output out. Okay, so kind of reading across, coming across all the way. Hugging Face, you can kind of see what happens here. It flipped it over to human. Okay, but surfer score goes down because I have fewer words. Phrase optimized, it's okay. Readability dropped a little bit on the summary. Okay, and I'm not going to go over the rest of these, but you can kind of see this is when I used Word AI. It didn't make, in fact, it decreased the originality. If you're going to test anything, test it with originality. You have to buy credits. $20 gets you, I think, 2,000 credits. So I've spent maybe $40 in testing over the last month and a half. This works. Also use this one. This is a good one right here. Okay. So just to kind of note here is I took the ScaleNet, I put it in Grammarly, I fixed everything. It took a little bit more than 3 minutes, or it took about 20 minutes running through Grammarly to do that. 23, 38, 5%. So I didn't improve on the original. Okay. But unclear if it's AI generated. Yep. Okay. But when I fixed it with Grammarly, my score went up, my readability went up. So if you compare it to that, it did go up a little bit. But I improved the optimization score a little bit on phrase, but didn't affect it much on Surfer. Okay. So that's ScaleNet. In a 1 to 10, I'd say this is a good article to use as a backlinking article or as a guest post. If you're doing any guest posting, this is pretty good. Spend a little bit of time once you create it. Took 7 minutes to create, good length article, and you could use different summary techniques in it. Inside of Jasper, you can rewrite it, or even use Notion that has an AI writer built with it. So you could tune it up a little bit and then test it back against originality.ai or OpenAI. Okay, so it's good. I'd give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. Go Charlie. Go Charlie. It's coming along. I'm happy that it's coming along, but Go Charlie. What I did with this one is I took the original article. It's a one-click blog. Took about 5 minutes, 1,900 words. And let's see if I can go find. Okay, there we go. Survival tips for hunter: choose the right weapon, learn to be more alert. So they have H2s and H3s in there. Good paragraphs, and they're not too long. Master the basics of tracking. Pack the essentials. Here's H2, H3, 10 items. It gave me 10 items, but it didn't actually make the list for me, which I was kind of, if you're going to give me a numbered list, give me some numbered bullets in here. Be prepared for any weather in a nutshell. Okay. So you can tell it's kind of AI written, but it's a good article. It's a good article you use as a guest post, to put into your blog, to put it into your PBN. That's just kind of what we're doing, putting it in the PBN. So let's look at Go Charlie. How did it score? Straight out of the box, I'm at 33%. So I'm pushing the needle on this. I'm kind of excited about that. Unclear. So between these two tools, it's starting to show it's a little bit more human written. Okay. And come across content at scale. If I'm using this, and it's okay, but it's only going to take the first 2,500 characters. So it flipped it to 99%. Copy leaks, worthless, but it says human. Your text is likely human generated. I like the results there. So some of these tools I am fooling just by using different AI writers. Here's the scoring over here. You'll notice my surfer score started out a little bit higher. Phrase optimization, it went up. Readability is okay. Grammarly overall, 80. So what this means, Grammarly overall, it's looking at punctuation, spelling, grammar, readability, and some other factors. Okay. Yeah, somebody just mentioned the new Article Forge. What? 3.5 or 4.5, whatever they call it. It is a lot better. In fact, I'm very excited about what it can do. I have been working with some of the guys at Article Forge. We have so many accounts on the API that they kind of listen to what I'm sometimes asking them. They get back to me a little bit quicker. And they told me about this coming up, and there's going to be some tweaks on the API as well as the manual input method. Okay. Anyway, Go Charlie. I summarized it. You can see 1,900 to 375. Now, the question is why would I make a 375 word article if I've already got a pretty decent one here? Use this for blog, for social posts, social teasers. Put it into Facebook, Reddit, any of your LinkedIn. You can put a good picture with it, and there's a summary post. Point it back to your original article. This is what we're going to be doing in the future on AI Masher. You need a good content article that has all the right stuff in it, but then you need backlink articles. So these are your backlink articles, and if you could spin them, they all look 100% human, and they're all pointing back to the original. You've got a pretty good network already being built from scratch. Okay, so you can kind of see I flipped the score. Unlikely AI, you can kind of follow along going across. It lowers the surfer, lowers the phrase. Readability is kind of questionable here. Grammarly is fine. So again, I put this article in Word AI, seeing if I can improve it. I decreased the originality, okay, compared to, then I ran it through Grammarly. So I bumped it with Grammarly. And this is all I did. I took this one article, improved the Grammarly part of it. Okay, so I did improve the score. Okay, and kind of just reading that across. Grammarly human, 53%. And your text is likely human generated. Hugging face, 95%. So the longer, what I've noticed, the longer articles that if you go in and improve your Grammarly, and inside of Grammarly, you can actually set, if you're using Pro, you can set the style. So I like mine to be casual. I don't want mine to be very formal because it does repeating patterns on that. So I'm using Grammarly Pro. I can tweak it a little bit, okay? Now I took Grammarly, I added in my helpful content. Now I'm up to 9,700 words. It took 3 minutes to just copy and paste the helpful content at the bottom of this. This is time right here, 20 minutes. You have 20 minutes to spend on Grammarly with every article coming out. So keep this in mind. We're going to be talking about this in a few minutes. It didn't really change anything from the original scoring, unlikely AI generated. So some of the other scoring, it gives me human. Your text is likely human. So it didn't really affect it much on the longer article like that, but it did improve the optimization because the helpful content is coming from phrase. I would expect it to bump up the phrase's optimization score, okay? But I got a good Grammarly score and good readability score. Where I'm going with all this is if you make your article readable, these are just some of the observations. If you put a little bit of your own time into it, you can spoof these. You can improve upon that. And it's just using common sense, using your own writing skills in there. But if you don't have time for it, here are some ways to do it. Word AI, Grammarly, add helpful content to it. That's why we have the helpful content builder on the back end of RSSmasher. If you're not using it, you need to, because it will help if you're combining it with Article Forge, it helps out there, but it also helps your RSS feeds because that is duplicate content coming in. But if you have your own helpful content, it lowers the plagiarism score significantly by adding helpful content. Okay. Now, these are all the tools that kind of one click, get it done type deal. Let's go into Jasper. I did a document from scratch with Jasper. This is the traditional method. I logged into Surfer. I logged into Jasper. I got Surfer tied into it. And it came up with everyone should know these basic survival skills. Do you? So let's go find Jasper. You can kind of see here's the original document. So I put images in there. I'm trying to get the score up on Surfer. And before we do that, let's look at what I was trying to do is get the score. Trying to get the score up so it's competitive, and 68 is competitive. Okay, so that's what I was trying to do. You can kind of see what the document looks like. Put some images, 8 basic survival skills, fire starting, basic first aid skills. And I probably could have numbered these, made it so it is actually 8. Frequently asked questions. This is all part of Surfer, Jasper. This is why it took me an hour to do. Okay. So the score, I would expect the score to be pretty high. It is. When you put a little bit of time in it, even using tools like Jasper, is you can get your score up. Okay. Very unlikely AI generated. I love seeing this. It is AI generated. I had to put a little bit of time and effort into it, 100%. You know, the freebie AI detectors love me too here. Human, 100% on Hugging Face. Come over here, very readable, good at Grammarly score. I didn't fix any of the grammar in here. I just let Jasper and Surfer do their magic. Okay. So I summarized. Went to 260 words, took about 2 minutes to pop it in there. Of course, this is all this is what I'm really always expecting, 100%, 100%. You can kind of just look across, you know, the summaries, it is what it is. I'm not doing blog posts with this summary article. I want long blog posts that have good content, okay? Now, I took this document, ran it through Word AI. Look what happened. Word AI is dropping some pattern words in there, I think. Has a little bit plagiarism. I wouldn't even worry about that. But then I took the original document from Jasper. I ran it through Grammarly. I fixed everything inside of Jasper's document on Grammarly. Took about 25 minutes, knocked it down to 2,600 words. It lowered the originality, but all the other ones it passed. Well, you know, some of them it passed, some of it didn't. That's why you get what you pay for. It's first 2,500 characters. If you're going to spoof content at scale, focus on the first 2,500 characters. And then you'll pass that every time. Okay. Come over here to scoring. I lowered my score a little bit, well, a lot on Surfer. Kept it phrase the same. Readability is close to the same, and plagiarism score went down. Okay. Now, when I took the Grammarly and added my helpful content, it went down a little bit. I didn't expect that. So the one straight out of the box from Jasper did pretty well. Very unlikely. Okay, very unlikely here. So keep this in mind, is Jasper's doing a pretty decent job. Now, I took Jasper and I ran it through. They have a blog post workflow. Came up with the article, Winter Survival Tips for the Hunter. Took about 15 minutes, gave me 937 words. Originality, 100%. Very unlikely AI generated. That's as close to human as you're going to get. 100% human. Your text is likely human generated. 100%. Surfer score, this was straight out of the box, 39, and 25 on the optimization score with phrase. That could be, you know, made higher, but this was pretty good. I was kind of, I was comparing what can Damon do versus what can the blog post workflow do. So this is what Damon can do, and this is what the blog post workflow. Now, 2,800 words versus 937. This is Jasper. Jasper's gotten a lot better with doing workflows. In fact, they've added several different workflows in there. Very impressed with, this was Jasper's attempt at giving me a human article. Okay, now it did take about 15 minutes, actually probably took a little bit longer. I summarized it, you know, again, this is a social teaser post is what we use it for. Ran it through Word AI. If you'll notice, it really messed up. It flipped the scoring. Not sure if I need to do that. I ran it through Grammarly. It kept it at 100%. Adding the helpful content, I took it up to 8,800 words, and it still kept 100%. So I kind of like, I mean, if I'm scoring it, this was probably one of the better ones. Jasper with the blog post workflow. Okay. Now let's come over here and just look at scoring over here. Surfer score, it went up. Grammarly, it's about the same, but adding the helpful content really helped the scoring go up both on Surfer and phrase. Now you can spend the time, put images, put more, you know, compare it with Surfer. You can get it up to 67 to 85 in about an hour's worth of work extra. Okay, so are you willing to put in that extra hour to get it up a higher score on Surfer? If you don't have Surfer and you got phrase, get it up. Phrase will tell you, here's where your competition is and you need to be above it. So it usually phrase is going to be about 60 or less. So you're really trying to get it to be competitive. Good Grammarly score, good readability. A little bit of plagiarism, not much. It's not going to ever tag you for duplicate content if you're running at, less than 10%. Okay, so that's Jasper. This kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Jasper is still pretty good. And especially if I get out of the way and let the blog post workflow do. Okay, now I went into Phrase. On Phrase, I used several different templates to get there. They're all the paid templates, but I went into survival tips for the hunter, gave me a good article, and let's just see what it looks like over here. There we go. Survival tips for the hunter. Here are my 10 best strategies. Now, Phrase actually built numbers. It gave me a good research, pay special attention, some paragraphs to go with each of them, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I go all the way up to 10. Yep, 10. And then I got a conclusion. By following these tips, this is a good conclusion. This was a good article. And I did have to kind of spend a little bit of time with it, not a lot, but directing it. Basically, I'm telling it which templates to use, okay? So I spent about 30 minutes, 2,100 words, 77%, 23% here, very unlikely. And as I come across, look at human, 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 went all the way across. And let's go into Phrase. It didn't score high on Surfer. Phrase, it's okay there. Grammarly was good. So pretty decent score. So let's look at what happened. I summarized it. Of course, I'm expecting 100%. I'm using, here's a 473 word social teaser I will be using. Then I come down here, Word AI. It screwed it up again. I went from 77 down to 8%. May not want to use Word AI. Word AI has special cases, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes here, okay? Grammarly. If I'm comparing it with AI Detectors, okay? Grammarly, 97%, 3%. Now, just a note here is if I have two different websites, look like two different owners, and I want to use that same article again, and I don't want to get tagged for plagiarism, duplicate content, I can run it through Word. I may suffer here, but I have a completely different article written with Word AI, and it's not even picking up any duplicate content, okay? Same article, just spun, okay? If I fixed it with Grammarly, I actually improved on originality. It didn't change anything there. Here's when I added helpful content, it went from 2,000 to 10,000 words. So you can kind of see going across. Grammarly helps. Grammarly with helpful content also helps in your optimization scoring. Notice this. Good, it's pretty decent readability. That's good readability. Optimization score, I improved the optimization score putting helpful content, okay? Now, everybody goes, well, why didn't you use ChatGPT? I did. And very simple prompt. Guys, y'all probably know better prompts than I do right now on ChatGPT. But I said, write me a really good article about the 10 survival tips for hunters. So it gave me a title, 639 words. And let's come over here and go GPT. Let's just kind of look at the article. Here's the original, 10 essential survival tips. It numbered the list for me, gave me a conclusion paragraph, opening paragraph. Okay, very nice. Let's see how it scored. So chat scored, a 0, 100% AI. Likely AI generated. I want you to know a pattern is developing here, okay? This is when you use your basic prompts. You don't have any modifiers. You don't have any extra variables in there to tell a style, in the tone of, use, a Hemingway method or use different paragraphs. This is just a basic prompt, okay? So it looks like everybody scored it as AI, okay? Written by AI, Chat GPT, it kind of lost track. It said human generated, AI on Hugging Face. Not good scores at all. Good readability though, okay? But this is, I'm creeping up on 8% on Grammarly. That's getting a little noticeable. Originality didn't pick up anything, okay? Then I summarize. I improved it a little bit with the summary, but let's look at, could I get it better? A little bit of a change using Grammarly, not much on Word. Grammarly with helpful content, I improved that basic prompt result. Very unlikely AI. So you can kind of look, it's flipping it a little bit. You have to play around with this. If you find that if you're scoring your AI written content against Originality or OpenAI and you want to change it, try Grammarly first and then try the Grammarly version with helpful content at the back end of it, okay? But we also go from 639 to 8,600 characters. Okay, I think this, I got two more. AI Writer for Windows. This is called ZimWriter now. And I went into Google search and I typed in best survivalist journalist. And I came up with a list of 10 or 15 of them. And Cody London stuck out. He's got some TV shows. He's got a lot of outdoor magazine. He's a good writer. I've read some of his articles before, very good. So I let AI Writer in their blog writer, it took about 7 minutes. I put it in the tone or in the style of Cody London, okay? Let it do its thing. It came out with 5485. So let's take a look at AI Writer. I was really impressed. It's one of those things that, okay, AI Writer, here we go. Best Survival Tips for Hunters by Cody London. And he's talking to me. Hey there, fellow hunter. I'm Cody London. My tips will help equip you with the skills needed. Okay, so I'm getting into this. This is like, I've got Cody actually talking to me. And he's a wilderness expert since 1998. Choose the right hunting gear, stocking up on essentials, knowing your terrain, investing in quality maps. This is something new I didn't even think of in terms of all the other articles. Nobody even mentioned quality maps. Scouting your hunting ground, setting up a campsite, learning how to navigate. That was on a few. Knowing first aid basics, okay? Staying alert and aware of surroundings, understanding animal behavior. Guys, that's survival tips for hunters. This was completely new. It was something, being prepared for unexpected weather changes. This is really what I was kind of expecting. Applying camouflage techniques, making emergency plans. Guys, if y'all are going hunting this winter, I'll give you this article and it will help you get ready. Identifying poisonous plants, storing food safely. And it gave me frequently asked questions. I'm really, really impressed. For $8 a month is what I'm paying for it. It has a good conclusion paragraph. I'm going, wow, this is, and it didn't take very long. So let's look at the results. It took me 7 minutes, 5,400 words. So shout out to Matt Zimmerman. It's 83% originality. Very unlikely here. As you go across, let's look at it. Human, your text is like, okay, GPT, the college kid, he's punished me for some reason. I don't know why. 100%. So we got surfer score was 32. Look at phrase. It scored 60 and it's all over the map. Readability is good. Grammarly is good. This surprised me. It really did. Summarized, it improved it a little bit. This is my social teaser right here. But then I flipped it over to Word AI. Okay, guys, look at what happened. I lowered my scoring, unclear. As you go across, you can kind of see, we don't know. Your text is likely human generated, coming to hugging face. Okay. So Word AI did not help me. Grammarly didn't help me. It didn't really hurt me either. Very unlikely. I kept everything the same. Let's see if I improved on any of the other scoring. So it kind of matched the original. That improved a little bit. I did improve readability a little bit. Grammarly improved. Okay. And if I'm adding helpful content, I make it a lot longer. And it went to 13,000 words. And now it looks like it's AI generated. I think I ran out of space there. So you have to test this. If you, Tony asked, is ZimWriter, did you set the headings or let the SEO method 2 select them for you? I let the SEO 2 select them, and then I modified them and then used method 3. So I've been playing around with ZimWriter. It is good. It is really good, especially for the price. It's comparable to me to using Peter Hathaway's templates in Phrase, or using Jasper and using maybe a blog workflow and adding to it. But with prompts, with variables and everything on chat, you can spend a lot of time on chat getting it to do as good as that. But ZimWriter, I'm really, really impressed with it. Okay. Last one. I bought this on AppSumo. Guys are always asking me, what about WriterZen? What about Copy AI and all these other writing tools? Try them out. I do. I buy every one that comes out on AppSumo, and I refund almost 90% of them. This is one that I didn't refund in time. I've just lost track of time. It is GPT-2. It is not going to pass anything. It's I wouldn't say crap, but what I bought it for was titles, headlines and titles. It does a really good job of creating a bunch of variations for like subject headings, blog titles, but it does a terrible job on writing content. Okay. You could see the scoring. Scoring doesn't look 376 words. This was their blog writer. Word AI didn't improve it. Grammarly didn't improve it. The helpful content bumped it a little bit. Unclear. So if you ask me to check all this stuff, I actually check it. I don't check it against all these AI detectors. But reading this, working with AI for almost 2.5 years now, is I can kind of look and see, just reading, whether it's AI written, but some of this is just not good, and it takes too long to do. So anyway, you have all this data in front of you. You have the test results. You have the documents that I created with everything. I've got it all there for you. You can copy and run your own test. And with the bubble up roll, you'll have all the AI detectors. Also here, these are all clickable. So you can go straight into these tools here, okay? I did this, I wanted to prove to myself that are there ways to use the tools on my desktop to improve the score? Grammarly helps some, Word AI, I'm not that convinced it helps at all, but adding helpful content, I did notice spikes in it, but also giving it good input. ZimWriter, I spent some time giving it good input. Jasper, I spent some time with Jasper, giving it good input. So if you're using an AI tool, The moral of the story is give it some good input. Spend a little bit of time with it to give it some good input. Okay. You can see that phrase, chat. This is bad input. It was just a simple prompt. AI writer, great input. So anyway, I'm going to hop back over to, okay. So I showed you the test. I showed you the results, and respect the technology. I put this in here is when companies spend time and money and effort developing AI detection tools and they charge you for it, it's probably because it's a pretty decent product, or it's a product that's going to grow with you. A lot of people are using these free AI detection tools. They're using GPT-2 or 3, but they're doing it as a lead gen to get your name into an email list that they can sell you their own AI writer down the road. Or they may just hit you up immediately to do all your copy for you. Okay, so keep in mind, free comes at a price that you're going to have to answer some emails or unsubscribe to. Okay, so if somebody's charging you for credits or anything, those are the ones I kind of trust the technology. So which ones AI detectors should you use? Probably better grammar. Okay, here's my, if I'm having to spend money or time and comparing it with AI detectors, I'm going to use originality.ai, AI text classifier, and I may use GPT-0, maybe. Okay, this is a hit or miss. It's a freebie college project. You know, this guy's, if he tunes it up a little bit more, Google or Microsoft is going to buy him out. So he's building a product to be bought out, and all the others, they are what you pay for them. They're free. They're sometimes they're going to give you false positives. So that's the thing that you got to keep in mind on. Now, do I test all my blogs against AI detectors? No, not at all. I did this test because I wanted to see if I could improve it, how to improve it, which is the best AI writers that we need to focus on if we're going to automate AI, and what do we need to compare against, okay? So these are good AI detectors, okay? Which AI writer should I use? Well, I always like this answer. It depends on time and purpose. Is how much time do you have to spend with it? And what's the purpose of the article? If you're building it as a backlink article, as a guest post, and you don't want to spend a lot of time, or if you're doing auto blocking, you don't want to spend a lot of time with it. This varies on what you're going to be posting out there. We use Article Forge. I know they're getting better. We also spin Article Forge with Word AI on our PBN network. And that's because we want a lot of content out there. We want a lot of times at bat, I guess is what people would say. But if I'm writing pillar posts, if I'm writing something that I'm going to be competitively ranking it on SEO for either myself or my customers or clients, I'm going to use tools like ZimWriter, Jasper, or Phrase. Those three, and maybe Go Charlie. You know, maybe even start with ScaleNut, but I'm going to I'm going to go into Go Charlie and ScaleNut and use those 5-minute blog writers, but I'm going to use that to kind of get me started in idea generation. So you can use Go Charlie by typing in one keyword, and it's going to build you a blog. Read through the blog. You got some good topics. Put it in ScaleNut or one of those other ones. Writers In would even be a good one. It's going to give you some ideas to write off of, okay? And then you can go into Phrase, and you can do a really good job on Phrase with templates, or you can go into Jasper, or even go back into ZimWriter, okay? So, questions? I'm about talked out today. Let's go with questions. Walt asked a very good question. How much do you think your results would change if you changed to a different content topic? Good question. General business optimization, just as an example. It's going to change. I would encourage every one of you to go in here to this spreadsheet that I gave you and save it as your own. Take one content piece and go through all your tools and then drop it into all the different AI detectors to see for yourself. You're going to get a really good feel really quickly on how your writers are doing and things that you can change. I've given you several different ways to tweak it. Word AI, Grammarly plus helpful content. Other things is improve your prompts, especially on Chat GPT. Put variable, use your prompts. You can use Jasper's chat. Jasper's chat is pretty good. So those are just the ideas. Use my spreadsheet. If you want to use the documents and test on other things, you've got all my documents in there too. I just wanted to give you an idea of, there's these AI detectors, they give you a score, they give you a qualitative score, but it doesn't mean that you're going to rank or not rank. It has nothing to do with your SEO. It is all about AI detection. Okay, so keep that in mind. You want a good article, whether it's AI or human generated. That's what your goal is, to help you both in SEO. Guys, any other questions I can answer? Maybe about the testing or anything. Looks like all these, you just click the link and originality.ai is the one you're going to have to put a little bit of money with. Peter asked if does Google even care if the content is AI generated or it's just useful? They have come out and said it is not about the AI, it is about good quality, useful content that people can use. That's why we built this helpful content, why we built listicles, is short questions or questions in people's mind that we're answering. And if you can answer that, you're building the know, like, trust factor on your blog. If you can answer those type of questions, or you give them a list. People are always looking for lists. So, if you're answering questions, giving them a list, you're giving them bullet points, you're pretty good to go, whether you're using AI or you're doing it yourself. Yeah, Walt asked a mind map or a workflow document of how I use this. I'll probably do one in March or April. Very, very good. If you've got the tools, the best way to learn them is actually use them and put them through a test like this. I love ZimWriter. I love Frase. I love Jasper. And, but I wanted to compare them all together, and that's what this whole report was for. Any other question, guys? I'm right at an hour, almost an hour and a half. And looks like we're out of questions. And so I'm going to end the call. I will see you on another call, and thank you for attending, and we'll talk later. Bye-bye.